Hi.
Hi.
I'm Sarah Coffey. I'm the program coordinator for the Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies program. Casey, who was not feeling well and couldn't be here tonight. So I'm going to say a few things before we get started. First of all, tonight's event launches the second year of our WDSS speaker series, the second of 3 years, and it's sponsored in part by the Herman Community Center. The theme of last year's interdisciplinary speaker series was the body, explored experiences of embodiment and autonomy. And in year 2 of our 3-year speaker series, we'll explore the theme of belonging. We'll have a lot of accomplished Furman alumni this year, exclusive alumni, a linguist, an LGBTQ activist, a lawyer, and a instructor. We'll explore what it means to create communities of belonging both on and off campus. So please keep your eyes open for the other events we have. We've also got the dance we want to follow everything that we do. We have a lot of cool events coming other than the speaker series as well. So before I introduce our speaker, I'm going to read the series of performance, which you all are very familiar with. CLP events are part of the university's Cultural Life program, which provides opportunities for students to participate in a variety of educational and enriching cultural experiences. Through these events, students encounter a spectrum of issues, ideas, opinions, and artistic expressions from various disciplines and cultures. CLPs invite meaningful dialogue and lead to a healthy understanding of and respect for differences. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the university. All participants are expected to display respect for presenters, performers, and audience members, keep an open mind when it comes to new ideas and opinions, and conduct themselves with civility. In turn, all presenters are also expected to encourage productive, responsible conversation consistent with the mission and values of the university. Before each event begins, please silence all electronic devices. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Diemer. Graduated from Furman in 2011 with a degree in vocal performance, who went on to get a master's degree at University of Houston and then teaching voice for a decade. You may also recognize Anna from her performance at the drag show last semester. Join me in welcoming Anna to the stage.
Thank you for the enthusiastic welcome of my fellow singers that I know. I'm super excited to be here in this capacity and to be able to return to my alma mater, both as a performer, whether that is during a must actually not, being here doing my day job. So I am a English teacher. Here's a little bit about me. I'm a recognized vocalist by the American Vocalists Association. That sounds a little fancy. I own and operate my voice studio. That is kind of well. I also am the co-founder of an organization called Voice Pro Ed, which is for voice professionals education, and we teach courses to SLPs and voice teachers all about the singing voice. And here are my intersectional identities that I wanted to share tonight. I am trans, non-binary, I'm queer, I'm neurodivergent, and chronically ill human being. I also am white, and I am monolingual. I just speak English, so we can take those things into consideration as we go through some of my perspectives today. So that's enough about me. We're going to get started on some voice stuff. If you don't know anything about gender-affirming voice, that's okay. That's the purpose of this presentation. I'm going to tell you some things that I'm going to do about the work that I do, and I'm going to talk fast because there's a lot, and this is all kind of hard. So we'll strap in, please. Hold your questions until the end. Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. This presentation will be interactive, so if it was possible to you and I invite you to make some sounds, we're going to make some sounds. This is the president of the call. So, are we ready?
Yeah.
Why is this work important? Silence in here. So here are two main reasons why this work is important. The first one being safety. If your voice doesn't match the way that you are presenting in the world, sometimes that can be unsafe. And so part of what I do is help people have a voice that they want to have so that they can present the way that they want to present and move through the world in the way that they want how it moves through the world. The other side of that is the internal side. It feels really good to sound like a sound, to have a voice that reflects how you feel about yourself and how you see yourself. And that's really great too. So that's why I'm doing this work. Just to start at the very basics, we won't spend a lot of time here, but if you have never thought about your own gender before, I invite you to do that. So what does that actually mean? So our definition of gender here is a set of socially constructed roles, behaviors, activities, and attributes that a given society considers appropriate. So society doesn't make this stuff up, right? So if you are thinking about, well, this is, my sex assigned at birth, and do I identify with that? You can ask yourself, do the roles, behaviors, activities, and attributes that you participate in align with what's on the inside, align with how you feel? Do the things that you do, the roles that you enact, align with yourself? And if you have not thought about that before, I invite you to start doing that. This is not a gender 101, it's a gender voice 101, but I think that's important because we also want to think about what your voice is on. So we'll get there in a second. With the definition of gender, I just also got a definition of transgender. So we have from the Latin for on a different side as. This is in contrast to cisgender, which would be someone who's on the same side as their gender or sex assigned at birth. I may use the terminology AMAP and AFAB within this presentation. So there's our groundwork. Now let's talk about the voice. So do voices have gender? So I see some head shaking, I see some nods. So what does it mean for voices to have gender? You think that voices have gender? What is gender about a voice? We're going to listen to 6 voices, and while you're listening, I want you to think about, can I know the gender of this person just by listening to their voice? And if so, what attributes makes that? Can you really know someone's gender listening to the voice? Let's listen.
When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light into many beautiful colors. These take the shape of a long round arc, with its cap high above and its 2 ends apparently beyond the horizon.
When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is the division of white light into many beautiful colors. These take the shape of a long round arch with its cap high above and its 2 ends apparently beyond the horizon.
When sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light into many beautiful colors. These take the shape of a long round arch, with its cap high above and its 2 ends apparently beyond the horizon.
When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light into many beautiful colors. These take the shape of a long round arch, with its cap high above and its 2 ends apparently beyond the horizon.
Say the shape of a long round arch that is pat above and its 2 ends beyond the horizon.
When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light into many beautiful colors. These take the shape of a long round arch with its cap high above and its 2 ends apparently beyond the horizon.
Okay, so if I ask you how many men were in those set of voices? I mean, you can shout stuff out.
At least one man.
At least one man. Okay, yeah, sure.
No, I can guarantee it personally.
What makes it guaranteed?
Because I recognize the second voice. That's Dr. Price.
Not.
It's not?
It's not.
It sounds just like him. Okay, never mind. Okay.
I'm like, Dr. Price, oh, yes. We didn't know the voice. What if we wanted to 3 of those voices were trans people? How were we supposed to tell? What if we wanted one of those voices was me? You know, but I couldn't hear. Then something straight in the air. Exactly. Okay, so.
I've been fishing.
There are 3 more on this one, different passage. Again, just put your listening ears on and think about how the voice might move together. There we go now. Maybe. Did I break it?
I've been fishing all week. You've been peering at me, showing off your accolades, showing off your pretty teeth. I felt the sense of fuzziness, the sense that I don't belong, the sense that everything I've done has been so bad.
I've been conditioning all week. You've been peering at me, showing off your accolades, showing off your beauty. I felt the sense of fuzziness, the sense I don't belong, the sense that everything I've done has been so bad. I've been in the fish tank all week. You've been peering at me, showing off your accolades, showing off your beauty. I felt the sense of fuzziness, a sense I don't belong, a sense that everything I've done has been so bad and wrong.
Okay, thoughts?
Who's the same person?
They're the same person. That's actually one of my clients I have been working with on the voice, and they have been working together for about a year. It's some recordings of them. So those are some of the possibilities of what you can do with voice training. So what makes your voice sound the way that it does? And I never thought, well, there are probably lots of people here who think about our voices because raise your hand if you say lots of current singers in here. So, no, big numbers is a lot. Well, you think probably a lot about singing voices, right? So, thinking about your speaking voice, like, can you even change the way that sounds? So, part of the reason why you sound the way that you do in singers, you will know this information, is because of how you are shaped as a human being. So depending on how big your larynx is, how long or thick your vocal folds are, how long your vocal tract is, which is from your larynx to your lips, what your face is shaped like as the sound resonates through your face. So some of this you are born this way. Thank you, Lady Gaga. Some of the way that your voice sounds is also influenced by hormones. So depending on the type of puberty that you went through, people who experience an estrogen influenced puberty have a little bit of voice change, not quite as drastic. You do notice at the end of life and during menopause and menopause, from the absence of estrogen and progesterone, sometimes the voice can change there, affected by hormones. People that experience a testosterone-informed puberty, the vocal folds thicken, the voice gets deeper. So trans folks will refer to this, trans men and non-binary people will say it's their second puberty, especially if they are going on testosterone and the voice is deepening in that way. So whether it's your first or second puberty, those hormones can affect the voice. And then, so we can change what hormones are in our body, but the thing that is easiest to change, I'm not a medical doctor, so the thing that I can help you change is these particular elements of the voice. There are many other elements of the voice, but I'm going to focus on these 4 today to kind of give you an intro to the kind of work that I do. So we have pitch, resonance, weight, and inflection, and each one of them has this sliding scale that I have provided the ends of each scale. So we've got high and low, bright and dark, broken to crest, and melodious to monotonous. And so you can create your speaking voice by adjusting the sliders on each of these elements. When someone does gender affirming voice care. There can be some other things that are discussed. I just wanted to include these. We're not going to focus on them today, but just so you know, singers are going to be familiar with this stuff up top because it is vocal hygiene stuff. Taking care of your voice. Are you holding your body in a way that's comfortable to you, that works well with working your voice? The way that you use your air, the way that you use your articulation. This is a little bit related to some of the residence things, but the way that we pronounce consonants can sometimes affect how people perceive the gender of our voice. And then something that I do cover with folks if they want to are some of these non-speech sounds, so you can learn to change the sound of the way that you cough, clear your throat, sneeze, even the sounds that you make during intimate moments. You can change the way that it sounds in all of those things. So just before I get into the real meat of this and the part, I just wanted to give a sort of disclaimer, sort of get ready for how I talk about the voice, and I already have been talking about the voice in this way. I try to avoid using binary language, and at the same time, realize that we live in a binary system that a lot of folks do want to pass or use the term pass. I'm a binary person, that's not a thing for me, but I recognize that from my clients, that is one of their goals, to be seen as either like a voice that is similar to the voice of a cis woman or the voice of a cis man. But for today's talk, I'll be mostly talking about either masculinizing or feminizing the voice. And even not even going into those gender terms, just stopping at using the objective measures for each element. So are we going higher in pitch or are we going lower in pitch, for example? So speaking of pitch, that's our first element we're talking about today. So this is the interactive part. Those of you singers are very good at this, but for those of you who may be thinking about your voice for the first time, we're going to make some sounds together so that you can explore these elements in your own voice. Yeah. What if we make a sound that is high in our voice? What if we make a high pitch sound? So what if we make for your voice a low pitch sound? Start low, we slide up to high. Singers is great. Usually I present people on Zoom and they're just looking at this. Okay, so we just explored quite a range of pitches here. For speaking voice, maybe those are a little extreme. So what if we think about a high pitch for your speaking voice? So we're going to use the phrase, my name is your name here. I would say my name is Anna, because that's one of the things that I go by. So what if in a high speaking voice pitch, whatever that means to you, you say, my name is Anna.
My name is
Presenting the singers just got a line.
So what if in a low pitch for your speaking voice, you say, my name is Anna.
My name
My name is. Nice to meet you. Come in, these guys.
What is funny? What is interesting about this? What you notice? Yeah,
It's not something I normally do with my voice, so it's fun to explore things I don't really do.
great, awesome. Yes, we're exploring the voice here. Doing new things. Oftentimes when I work with folks, they have no idea. If some folks have a singing background and they're more used to being able to match pitch in that way, but some folks are like, I have no idea how to change the pitch in my voice. I'm like, you have the right place. We are play. Play exploration is what guides a lot of all in a big science experiment to find out what the one does from it. So, ear and proprioception training is really important for those folks. Proprioception refers to how we feel stuff in our body. So, singers, you will be familiar with this. You know what it feels like to sing high. You know what it feels like to sing low or in a certain way. Some folks may have never experienced that before, so I get to help guide them through realizing what it might feel like in their body if they can get a sense of vibratory sensations in their body. And then I usually take them through their range, sort of like what we did. Okay, what's comfortable for you to phonate? In phonate is just fancy word to make noise. And then choosing a target range for a voice as opposed to one target pitch so that they have something to shoot for in their work. There was a study in 2020 that found that the fundamental frequency, which is basically pitch, which is a little more complicated than that, but that's another presentation. So fundamental frequency or pitch is the primary predictor of perceived gender activation. It's not the most important of thing, but it's pretty important, and with a musical background, that's usually where I start. So this is the stuff that I do. Oh, this is my one moment using the piano.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, let's crack your knuckles, crack your knuckles.
What range the average total pitch range of a SIP moment is between F3 and F4. To give you some context, my average voice pitch is around flat, sort of around here. If you put into that, the average pitch range for a SIP is what is it, A2 to A3? So that gives some possibilities for between I don't understand. Excellent. Okay, so while we're talking about pitch, I just wanted to talk about going on T for a bit because this is, like I said at the beginning, one of the things that can change stuff about your voice. So when you take testosterone, it is undergone by people that want to masculinize themselves, so trans men, some non-binary people, or genderqueer or gender-fluid people. You will not be surprised that bodies are different, and so the rate at which change happens both in your body and other ways, and both differs for everybody. It differs at the age at which you start T. If any of y'all were to start testosterone right now, your voice will probably change more than if I would start testosterone right now. I'm 34. So your cartilage of your body starts to ossify. In your 30s, your voice basically gets less flexible. So the closer to puberty you are, or if a person starts taking testosterone when they're around the time of their first puberty, that growth hormone can cause the vocal tract to lengthen, the vocal folds to lengthen and thicken, the whole larynx to get bigger more than if me, who is all done puberty, testosterone, my vocal cords get bigger, but my instrument wouldn't necessarily get bigger, and so that's an interesting challenge to work with folks whose voices are changing. You know, there's still a lot of cracking and unpredictability going on, but there can be a sense of weakness or coarseness, getting used to a bigger instrument in the case that I was in before. The average pitch drop is about an octave that some folks retain. They're higher range more than others, especially I work with a lot of singers who are on T, who come to me and say, I don't want to lose my therapies, I want to go on T. And I'm like, cool, we can't really predict that. However, let's keep using your high range as you go through this transition, and I can help. TLDR for my Diemer. I have linked a couple of articles. One studied 50 singers that were doing testosterone therapy, and so it averaged out their experiences. I know that's not a lot of folks, but in music and in gender studies as well. The sample size is lower and there's not a lot of research going on yet. So hopefully more soon. I've also linked an article that is from a colleague of mine, Ariana, who documented their entire voice change process. And wrote an article on it, so that's a super deep case study of 1%. We've got a few articles later with all the resources, and you can also check them out. To the folks at home, you can these are links to them. If you forget that I have all these beautiful voice samples, this person has not undergone any additional voice training, but that's what he has done in their voice over 2 years. Yay, super cool. I got one more to listen to. What if I told you that you've grown all along so
I told you that you would grow, that the mycelium of your soul has been doing your work, that the birds of your heart have been building their nests, that the fire has opened you and the ash has been be. What if the deep and mystical truth is that you are already blooming, unfolding in your own time like the flowers all around us?
So there are some examples. Different kinds of voices. The beauty of studying voice and working with singers, which is the best part. The next element that you're going to explore together is resonance. And the way that we talk about resonance is very qualitative. We don't necessarily have a set of the right terms. So as you think about your voice and creative, there are terms that we often use, like bright and dark, which is why I have picked this beautiful light and also less scary looking game. So we're going to explore these kinds of sounds together by using vowels. So what if we say an E vowel, what if we say the E, but make it the smallest, cutest E you possibly can? We have separated the elements. Okay, so the other dark scary K, we're going to use an O vowel for this. Put a lot of space in between your upper and lower jaw, make your lips really round. Why don't you say it the same way you're saying it? You know, my name is Anna.
My name is
Okay, well, what's next is opposite. So what if you make a video?
What is that?
Because if I ask you, which one of these sounds the lowest and deepest? Or which one of these sounds the highest? Which one of these sounds the lowest and deepest? You think?
The big guy. Big.
What about highest and brightest?
The tiny.
necessarily the case of people and voices, but at least that correlates to the shapes that we just made. As we explored residents, we have a big shape to make a big dark sound, and we had a big shape to make a little nasty sound, like these eyes.
Yes, Rico.
Okay, so resident three, I'm still looking at screen and we'll focus on resident three, even though we do kind of letting you thought it was Dr. Craig so just the same as pitch, rating your ear, based on the reception of how you feel resonance. What does it feel like to get really bright or even dazingly resonance? Does it feel like that have really dark or back or deep or gloomy resonance? Have you experienced that in your body? You can explore different terms, the ways that you experience that, you feel that. And then these are the two directions that we can go in on that sliding scale in general, but not always. A more feminine perceived voice is going to be brighter, and a more masculine perceived voice is going to be darker. So those are the ways that we can go. So we did this with E-ification and O-ification. Those terms come from a clinician named Sandy Kirsch. She is an SLP, she is retired and did a lot of great work in this field and is now tagging in us next generation of folks to do the work. So we did E-ification just now by thinking about speaking through the space of an E, which shortens the vocal tract so that in raised larynx that can spread the lips. You can think about your tongue being the arch of the tongue being more forward in the mouth. Some folks even practice laryngeal pull-ups to practice raising the larynx and to get used to being in a more raised larynx state. I know that's like a no-no, like classical music, but you actually need a raised larynx work. And so we can approach that with neurons and what we just did. It is the opposite for resonance darkening. We are lengthening the vocal tract, so we want more space between the glottis, between your vocal folds and your lips. You can do that by rounding the lips, making more space inside the mouth, that O-ification. Or you can practice lowering the larynx by thinking of a yawn. How many of you have had a voice to you that said, sing as if you were thinking of a yawn?
Oh, yeah, to say.
So resonance darkening is great for folks who are on TV. Like if I started TV today, I would need to learn how to speak with a darker resonance because I speak with a pretty forward resonance naturally. And so my pitch might drop, my resonance might stay really forward. My voice is very low, but it would kind of sound so that I can't even do it. I don't know how I still. But not in a low voice that's still kind of like nasally. So folks who are on TV can benefit from in their resonance, have a deeper, clear sound, and match that with pitch. I have a fun tool to show you next. It's called acoustic gender.space. I linked to this on the resource website as well. This is it analyzes your voice and plots out an XY axis of pitch and resonance. It's not super accurate, but I think it's a cool tool and cool way to demonstrate like what different kinds of resonances can sound like.
Old plain of life. He's the vision. She and he makes the most tears. She the operatic in this way.
So you can upload this of your voice to get this analysis of it. So I have to just simplify it with this person. So that's all I got for resonance today. We're moving on to the couple things.
Yeah.
So we have a breast spectrum here, and I have two of our lovely leading ladies of pop right now to show us. Thank you. We've got So which one does the chaperone represent, do you think?
The heavy.
The heavy weight, right? She's got this like belty, she is using a lot of weight in her voice. She does not have very heavy too, but compared to Billie Eilish, who is up there, this really light, eerie side. So we're gonna try that together. We're gonna go back to my name is, and what is to do my name is with a lot of weight in your voice. My name is Anna. We are going to, my name is spelled with a lightweight, whispery, airy tone. My name is
Sounds like chicken.
But it's still pretty good practical on a voice. Our two ends of the spectrum here are two directions that you know are more feminine perceived voices are lighter and more masculine perceived voices are heavier in weight. That is not always the case because vocal tone weight or voice weight is related to vocal tone closure. So how intense your voice is, how much air is in the vocal folds, basically. I would say that I speak not necessarily with a heavy weight, but I speak with a lot of vocal tone closure. I don't speak with a lot of air in my voice. I'm trying to keep around the same pitch range, but now I'm using a lot more air. I'm using less weight in my voice. This is the we're on Zoom for 5 hours and voice lessons. And this is my I'm talking to multiple people. So sometimes weight can correlate with volume. So it's like to make your voice heavier weight, get louder. There's only so loud I can be in the lightweight kind of voice, right? And there's only so quiet I can be in the fully closed voice. So by experimenting with these types of contrasts, that's the sliding scale of changing the weight and volume of your voice. We have lower element and that is inflection. It's pretty big because this is pretty abstract. We've got some shines connected and melodious inflection. That's Morse code, which is representing our detached or monotonous inflection. I don't know what that says in Morse code, but I hope it is not aspiration. So we're going to do one last vocal exploration, and we can go right into the other. So let's say my name is in a connected and very melodious way, and then say my name is in a very punctuated and more monotonous way. So it'll be like, "Hi, my name is Anna," or "Hi, my name is Anna." Short.
My name is
And you are.
I think that we can go in here. More connected and melodious is associated with more dependent voices, more percussive, and the numbness is more associated with masculine perceived voices. Again, not always the case, but those are the two directions in which you can go. So to practice this, you can increase the range that you were traversing while you're speaking. I feel like I do this a lot. So people are like, "Oh, you sing? You sound like a singer." You can do a blind slide. It's from one of my colleagues, Liz Jones, who wrote a book called 1 Year Trip. I think I've got resources. The shtick is that there is no 1 year trip. But glide, going up the pitch and slide, or down the pitch to help someone train their sense of like, what is my voice pitch actually doing and working with. The opposite of that, masculine perceived voices tend to create emphasis more with its volume than with changing pitch. This is really hard for me because when I get excited, my pitch goes like to the ceiling. So it would be like, that movie was great. Like that would be something that I would naturally say. But if I was trying to be more monotonous, like that movie was great. So like I really different, I'm trying to get louder there. I was sort of dude, that ball was huge. So we've gone through kind of masculinizing, feminizing directions. What does it mean to have an melodic spoken voice? The beauty of this is, why did I just somewhere out of time? You can ask me. The beauty of this is you get to decide what that means to you. Some folks want to go for sort of an average in the middle of all of these sliding scales that we've talked about. Some folks want to go for something that maybe they're gender fluid, and so they want to have a voice that matches when they're presenting more them, a voice that matches when they're presenting more mass. Someone might choose to use a voice that intentionally is different from the way that they present, just to make people confused. That's the whole topic about being trans being a big so the world is your oyster here. You can choose where you want to be in any of these elements. Anything that you have to work with is just what you can do. So how do you start being more of your own voice? This is the aforementioned resource page, which is also at innervoicestudio.com/Furman. Let folks scan that. At the beginning, I'm going to see after. Yes, you can work on your voice on your goal, and there are no prerequisites by your willingness to do this work. There's lots of great stuff out there. There's probably lots of bad stuff, and there's all kinds of people on TikTok being like, "Every voice for me," and that's funny. Voice, but I have linked on our resource page a couple of my favorite content creators and speaking about the community's work. Some questions to consider are doing a vocal vibe check on your voice. Does my voice reflect the vibe that I was be giving off? And what are some voices that I do like? What voices do I like that might be giving off the vibe that I want? What do I enjoy about these voices? If you aren't in a position and you're like, well, I don't know how to describe voices, that's okay, make it up. Language and gender, it's all made up. So, get creative, make it up. Think about what do you think you're great about these particular voices. Then when you talk to your friends about it or go see a vocal coach, you could say, well, this one really is kind of like a tingling. I want us to do that. And they'll be like, great, let's figure out what that means to you and how we can make your voice do that. Again, if you, as you're thinking about what you want your voice to sound like, if you don't have the words for that, you can. I think we are about wrapping up here. I just want to talk a little bit about what I actually do in lessons and what my role is in creating a voice. So I'm this. It's the 5 keys. So it is my responsibility when someone in a working relationship with me to educate them about how voice works, how their own voice works, to guide them through exploring their own voice, to come up with the exercises that they use to learn about their voice and to move their voice along those sliders in the direction they want it to go. I am also the evaluator, not in a judging kind of way, but an objective. Okay, you want to be higher in pitch, and I prefer that that was higher in pitch. I'm the experience in that situation. For those of you that teach voice, we already have 7 years to help reflect back to our students. And finally, to empower the people that I work with to have the kind of voice that they want to have, whatever that might be. So thank you so much for coming out tonight. I know it's late, but it's been fantastic to share about my work with you. You can find me on the interwebs and all those places, and also you can just Google and Diemer on Google. Questions? You have any questions? And I'll stand up and hang out here while we scan QR codes and things stuff.
For the singers in the room, as a queer individual, as a non-binary individual, how do you appreciate people referring to your voice?
Oh, that's a great question. So I'm a non-binary person. I also wear a soprano. And so that's to me, like soprano, alto, tenor, bass, etc. Bach, is not necessarily gendered, and some people think that it's gendered, right? And so I think that is like, who are you working with, and how do they feel about their voice and what it says, and there are choirs out there that do voice 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it's just kind of low. But I would say, like, I'm a non-binary soprano. I've seen someone out there that is a male soprano. They identify as trans-masculine, but are not taking T. They still sing their soprano range. They do like remote roles, all kinds of great stuff like that. But yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, beautiful. Oh, I be waving around.
Oh.
I will ignore you. Moving on. Yes.
So I guess for your classical voice students, like yes, Bach was genderless and stuff, but it had these very gendered implications.
Sure.
And I guess in the context of that, how do you help students who struggle with that, I guess, confront anatomically?
Yeah, so I can relate to this personally, not to get like trauma, come to where you want to go, but sometimes I wish that I was a bass baritone. And even if I go on testosterone physically, I am never going to get bass baritone because my therapist is super happy because I am a very. And so I think my vocal practice overlaps a little bit with this. In holding space for the grief around the concept of oneself changing and how that relates to the things that their body does, and that might not be able to do the things that they wanted to do. That also is a great reason why we have therapists. So there's a certain amount of that I can hold space for, and a certain amount that just comes with the kind of self-reflection and acceptance work that comes with being trans. Getting deep, y'all.
How do countertenors and contraltos fit into all of this?
Yeah, so like this person said, Bach does have some gender implications. So countertenors have traditionally been like cis men who sing in their upper register in what's people consider falsetto. Again, everything is made up terminology, but that probably doesn't make sense. Most of you don't come at me with falsetto versus tenor versus so that countertenors are usually cis men, contraltos sing in their lower part of the register, but are usually cis women. And I think the way that some of their first therapists can be really personal. So there might be like trans women out there that refer to themselves as contraltos because that's a term that is usually associated with cis women, and they are a woman, and so they choose that term. I know there are a couple of trans opera singers out there that are like female contraltos. So your mileage may vary as personalized. We got all the singers coming out with singing questions. That's the next like 15 minutes of the presentation. We didn't get excited under an hour, but that's so I'm glad we're getting into it now. Yes. Is it dangerous to like try and do local work by yourself? The question was, is it dangerous to do local work on your own without a coach? I say know your limits, know your body. If it doesn't feel good, probably don't keep doing that thing. So trust yourself there. There's a lot of stuff out there, and it's okay to go out there and try and do stuff and listen to your voice and hear it play back and ask your friends, hey, I want my voice to sound like this. what's going on, and like, if I'm talking to your voice for X amount of time, then your voice gets tired, so you're like learning your limits in that way. So a coach can help you establish those limits and give you ways to practice, and to sort of like find those and, you know, maybe eventually like you're up to using your voice for more parts of the day. You can absolutely do this work on your own. It's like any kind of working out you do on your own. You're not going to go to the gym and start bench pressing. You're going to need 50 pounds, right? You're going to just kind of move the bar, right? Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, it's not always to take for a voice to fully transition. That is a great question. So you can get introductory voice care from a speech pathologist, and so that's the thing that insurance sometimes covers, and they will cover like 8 to 12 sessions, and some people go like every week for like a couple of months, and then they're coach. They're like, I'm ready for it. The person that we heard that was all 3 of the same voices, they've been working with me on and off for about a year, and we're to the point where we just have a check-in every now and then she just shows up and is like, here's what's going on with my voice. Can you help me with this? And I'm like, cool. If you take tea, again, your mileage may vary. Some people start experiencing like voice drops within like 4 to 6 weeks. Some people it takes like 6 months to a year. There's usually, like if you look at the data of the small amount of people that have been studied, there's usually like a period of stability around like a year and 2 years on tea, but it also depends on the dose and the way that you were taking your tea, whether you're getting injection, gel, etc. So if this is another huge, like your mileage may vary. I had a client this summer who was in high school and was like, I want my voice to be ready by the time I go back to school. And she worked super hard on her voice. And I was like, I had to go tell her mom, like, don't pay me for any more lessons because like she's done. This is great. So like you musicians know the amount and regularity with average rate of practice affects that a lot. And how your body is, and also like how much you know going into it. Like if you are like, I have no idea how to match pitch whatsoever, you might take a little bit longer because you are building more skills, basic skills, before you can kind of get into what is my good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Oh, we have time.
Do you often find that assist people also use frequency as well as books that are in periods of anxiety?
So I do have one and I'm not going to do this more because like executive coaching is the thing. Like that's part of the way you are perceived, like a big part of the way that like, you perceive is the way that your voice sounds, the way that it's. So I thought about doing that as like one charge of people.
Yeah. Get the money. Get the
Any body can change. Sound is not like, wow, I think my voice feels a little basic again, or less basic, and that is the thing to work on. Yeah. One more question? Yes.
Effective allyship for cis individuals in music, in voice work specifically.
Yeah.
What would you say are some of the basic guidelines, things that you would suggest?
Great, excellent. We are getting into some of this is not my scope of practice because I am not a DPI certified person. However, I think it really goes back to the individuality, the mileage may vary of providing the opportunity for folks to self-report about the ways that they want to refer to themselves. You know, we're not about like outing anybody. We're not saying like you have to give your pronouns, but like when you go and create your voice studio sign up one day, right? Like having an area for people to put their pronouns that is not required, and having different questions that are not required that go for the voice in a gender kind of way, or are open. Like my You can look at like my studio form, diemer.studio.com/intake. You can look at the questions that I asked that are also both for like speaking and singing. In choir, like I always had to go up to choir directors and be like, you cannot sing ladies when you mean sopranos and altos because I am not a lady. And most of the time that is well received, but there are definitely folks out there who are still doing that. So you're using non-gendered language as much as you can when you're with folks or referring to folks that you don't know their gender or there is a myriad possibility of genders within that group. Finding a way that group has decided on how they want to refer to themselves. And just being allowing for that. I was hoping to end on a strong note, but it's sort of way. Great question, though.
All right, yeah. Join us tomorrow if you don't know about this. This is the Chamber of Commons, which is Furman Hall, upstairs next to the elevators. And we'll be there. So if you've got more questions and you didn't get a chance to ask them, come on by. We'll have food and fun and conversation. And yeah. Last thing I want everybody to do is scan this QR code for me. So this is really helpful for us as we're planning our CLPs to figure out what worked, what you liked, what you want to see more of. And if you have any other feedback as well, feel free to reach out. We've got Dr. Casey's email address up there. You can also find me. I'm in Furman Hall 112 if you ever need to find me, which is downstairs next to the elevator. And then our Instagram, follow us on the WGSS AT Furman. Again, you can find all of our upcoming events, things that we're doing, classes, fun stuff like that. All right, thank you, Anna. Thank you.